Welcome back to Jungle Gap. So I've just had a session with, an Iron 3 jungler who's fairly new to the game. And I wanted to make a quick demonstration video on pretty much the main things that a relatively new jungle or a low elo jungler should learn or focus on first. The very first fundamentals, the most important fundamentals, the fundamentals that I think, after coaching so many low elo players, that you should focus on. And I'm going to just do a quick demonstration in this practice tool. Because as you can see here, tempo, clearing fast, and jungle tracking are, some of the main points that we're going to be thinking about. I'm going to be playing the review of the session that I just had with this player. So if you want to learn even more things about what I'm talking about, feel free to stay and kind of watch the review where I go in more in depth in what I'm about to talk about. But I just wanted to talk about a quick example of what that really looks like. So the first thing here is, before we even get into the actual gameplay, what we have to realize is that the game starts when all 10 champs get locked in. So as soon as all 10 champs get locked in, we want to start thinking about our pre-game. And the biggest question, a lot of low elo players, the biggest mistake that they make is they think about things that just don't matter. Okay, so they think about, top lane may get pushed. I might want to help this guy. This guy might have a hard time. All these kind of extra things that you're thinking about, they really don't matter. The biggest thing that you want to think about is for yourself, which is simply just, where can I get a kill? Where can I path towards that's going to give me the biggest chance to get a kill? And obviously we don't have drafts this game.
It shall be done.
But for the sake of this kind of demonstration, I'm going to be pathing from top to bot, which is playing towards my bot lane. In 70% of the cases, you probably are going to be pathing towards top, but there are going to be some situations where you path towards top. To figure out where you want to path towards, I'm going to leave that in the review of the session. I'll probably have a timestamp for it. But let's say just for this example that I want to path towards bot. And the next thing we want to think about is jungle tracking and mirroring your camp timers to the enemies, right? And a way we can go about doing this is warding the enemy jungle. So if you're on blue side, you want to ward. There's nowhere specific that you want to ward. The two major wards that you're going to do is this one right here at around 1 minute, and this will be able to track him if he does the 3 top side camps, and if you can also just ward the blue side at 1 minute, and you can still kind of just ward here at 1 minute or around 1 minute. And this is just going to let us know where the enemy jungle starts. Now, it's a good idea when you're doing this to kind of ping your team for some help. Make sure you don't do this when the enemy champs, when they have very strong enemy champions, if you're versing like a Nautilus, an Ashe, and things like this. Not the best idea to do that if you're versing those champions. Okay, so I need to sell these right now real quick just to have no advantage. And yeah, we're going to literally focus on clearing fast. And this has to do with your champion mastery and, kind of just making sure that this fundamental of clearing fast is part of your game. So go into a practice tool, learn how to, research it on YouTube, because clearing fast is such a common thing I see when coaching low elo or newer players. Because essentially clearing fast is saving a lot of time, and that time is, we're able to use that time at the end of the clear. And a big part of the game is tempo. Tempo meaning time. And we need to make sure that we clear fast. Very first thing. Some people say, I've had players in the past that, a different coach in a different videos told me that I need to look around right now. Well, if you're very new to the game, just focus on clearing quickly. And even just do your full clear. We can worry about level 3 ganks. We can worry about all that other stuff when we, get there. But for new players, just focus on clearing quickly, which means, as you can see what I'm doing right now, I'm pulling this wolf camp, and I pulled the blue. I'm pulling every single camp towards the next camp that I'm going towards, which is the raptors. So every time I pull a camp, I'm going to be pulling it towards the next place. And, this is also knowing your champion by the mastery as well. So I know in this camp that I always want to Q kind of before I use W because it resets the cooldown. So knowing how to clear fast and what it takes for your champion and what abilities to use is also another step in that process of clearing quickly. Okay, so as we come to the end of our clear here, we would know based off this ward where the enemy jungle started, right? So if he started on the bot side, if we saw him start here and he hasn't shown anywhere, he's probably, you know, mirrored to us right now. He's probably on the red, you know, so maybe I'll get some danger things out here right now as I'm clearing. And, you know, you don't need to set any world records for clearing very quickly. You just need to kind of, you know, a good idea is to finish your camp by 3:30, whether you can save a smite or not. Obviously, saving smite, you should always try and do this because you want to be able to smite the scuttle. So, you know, even this case, I didn't have the fastest. Okay, so let's say he started bot side. Okay, I'm going to use some danger pings here. You know, communicating to your team. I know I don't have that listed here. But that's also a fundamental that you can think about if you have the extra, you know, time. And, okay, so I've cleared the scuttle now, right? And I know I don't have the camp timers up, so I'm just going to kind of pause here. So with this spare time right now, you know, before this camp spawns, which is around, you know, 4:15, 4:20, I have spare tempo, so I can look to gank bot, I can look to gank mid, I can drop a ward here, and as soon as there's nothing available, right, I'm just going to instantly base. And this is what's, you know, valuing my tempo is a very, very important part. You don't want to waste any extra time here, right? You want to buy quickly, you want to buy, you know, you want to know what you're going to buy, you want to be thinking ahead of time. And now when I'm running out of base, next thing, clearing fast, we've done that. Tempo, we're thinking about keeping our tempo. We're thinking about our spare tempo after that time. Now, you know, it comes down to awareness and kind of looking at lanes. As you run to different camps, so whenever you have time to run between camps, you need to look, okay, can I gank here? No? Okay, I'm just going to do my camp. Can I gank mid? No? Okay, just do my camps. So now we're starting our second round, our second clear, right? And this is going to come to our third, or one of the other, the fourth, still thinking about tempo. We're going to be thinking about our weak side versus strong side camps, okay? So, because we want to play around the bot side, right? I want you to consider your top side camps as your weak side, because top lane is your weak side. These are your weak side camps. So I'm going to pause here, right? As we walk to our strong side camps, okay? So this is our weak side, this is our strong side. We always want to be doing our strong side camps, our weak side camps as soon as we can. And then potentially when we get to this point, when we're on our strong side camps, you know, when we make this walk from wolves to raptors, we can be looking at our strong side lane, right? Is there a gank opportunity here? Is there a gank opportunity mid? No? Yes? If there's a gank opportunity bot, essentially the whole idea with these weak side, strong side camps and you wanting to get your weak side camps out of the way is because if I run down here, you know, and I go for a strong side gank, you know, if I go for a gank here, you know, obviously we still only want to go for high percentage ganks, but let's say, for example, this fails, right? We get his flash. The reason why this is good is because I can just immediately go back to my strong side camps. They're kind of in proximity of the lane that I think we're going to be playing around. Because we're in proximity of these camps to bot lane, right? This kind of circle here. I can continue doing my strong side camps here. And then if something happens again bot side, right, I'm already right here in the proximity to react, right? So let's say, for example, now my bot lane starts fighting. I can simply just run back here, and because I'm very close, I'm here. Whereas, you know, let's just say, for example, just as a, you know, let's say, for example, I didn't do this. I didn't stick to the weak side, strong side structure of pathing. If I ran straight to my strong side here and I do my strong side camps first, what's going to happen is if I go for this bot side gank now, I won't have anything to kind of fall back on. The next camps that are going to that are only available to me is my top side camps, which, if you think about it, right, I clear these camps, so they're not available, but these camps are available because I ran from base straight to my strong side. The reason that why this is bad is because now only these camps are up, so I need to either make this, you know, huge kind of marathon run to these camps, or I just straight up need to base, which is really, really, really bad for your tempo. It's very, very bad to base after just clearing 2 camps and ganking bot. This is also really, really bad, right? So I think this kind of sums up everything, right? These notes. Pre-game, where can I get a kill? This helps you just kind of have some structure to where you're going to path around, and it gives you opportunities to get kills. Remember, when you're new to the game, you want to be thinking what's best for me, not thinking about, oh, I want to help people. Okay, the jungle tracking. You'll see this used more in the review I do with this student. But essentially it is, you know, it's a good way to realize, okay, so he started blue and I started blue. So when his Gromp spawns, my Gromp will spawn. Or when my wolves spawn, his wolves will spawn. So when you get to this point where you're like, maybe you're clearing down 1, 2, 3 on your second clear, and you're getting to this point again, maybe he's just ganked bot, right? And your bot lane gets double killed. Well, now maybe you can go from wolves and you can go and take his camps because you know that his raptors are the same as your raptors, right? So this also helps with punishing the enemy when they make a gank, or it helps you kind of punish the enemy's mistakes. And then the tempo, whenever your Krugs or your Gromp starts spawning, this can be kind of this is when my cycle starts again, right? This is when when your Gromp is spawning in 20 seconds, this can be a good indication of, okay, I should start basing now, right? I should start basing now because my cycle is going to continue again. And you're going to do the same thing, full clear down. Should I skip my strong side camps? Yes. Okay, gank bot, get a kill, cool. Okay, there's nothing available bot. Let's just do my camps down. And yeah, awareness. While you're walking to this camp, the amount of times I just see this, right? Just looking at your character. If we're going to run towards the Gromp, we may as well just have a look at what's happening top, because information is kind of everything. And so, yeah, you can kind of continue watching the review, and we go into this in much more detail, but I just wanted to quickly make a demonstration of what this actually kind of looks like. Obviously this is just practice tool, but I wanted to make a quick demonstration of why this is important. What's up everyone, my name is Coach Leo, and I'm an ex-pro jungler of 6 years, competing at events such as Worlds a total of 4 times, where I played against the best players across the globe. Now in 2024, I've been coaching hundreds of players to reach their dream rank. So if you've had enough of being the same rank every season and want to finally take action, book your first session and join the Jungle Gap Discord today. You are basically the motor of the team. And say, for example, your top lane who's platinum, and I'm just going to use this as an example. Your platinum top lane is saying, hey, jungle, come gank this lane. And obviously, yes, it's very difficult for you to understand, well, he's platinum. He might know this is a good gank or not, right? However, as a jungle, it's kind of your job as the motor as well to recognize, hey, I don't want to play to bandaging a losing lane. I want to play towards, I want to play towards my strong side where we can kind of progress the game and take the objectives and stuff like that. So it's definitely not the best environment to be a lower skill player with a team of higher skill players, unless they really understand and they're kind of like, but no, I mean, I'm going to, no players, even platinum players, even diamond players, even master players, even challenger players in teams that I've played with before, it's the exact same thing. Usually people will not think as clearly in that situation where they're needing help, unless they, of course, they understand
from the perspective of their lane sometimes versus the macro of the team and what a jungle player is looking to do.
Afterward, they may see the game and be like, yeah, sorry, I called you here, but it would have been better if you went for the dragon, for example.
Yeah, and I feel like I'm just starting to kind of get some of those where I'm like, I'm not sure that's the call right now.
Yeah, and you'll always follow,
or
right?
Saying, you know what, not a good time for that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I feel like I'm starting to develop a little of that intuition.
Yeah.
And that, that's where maybe like coming in and playing, some solo queue against, more evenly, matched elos or that kind of thing. Those are certainly different experiences when I pivot to that. Right, my teammates are less reliable in their lanes, but there's
well, it's the exact same. It is the same thing in solo queue where the same thing applies. You're the motor of the team, and it's kind of your responsibility to make the right play on the map. So, even in solo queue, when your team is pinging for assistance and something like this, you need to know. And whenever you play the game and whenever you play jungle, okay, for the most part, you want to have the mentality of like, okay, is this good for me? And is this good for the game? Now, this is where I guess there's a little bit of like solo queue and team separation, where in solo queue, you always want to play basically for yourself. Always. Because, again, like you said, you're playing tanks, you're finding out that you're having to rely on people. So in competitive, you can play for other people, but again, it has to be to progress the game. It has to be towards the strong thing to win, pretty much. So that's the only difference. But the assertiveness is the same. You want to say, hey, I'm going to play towards this winning thing so we can get the dragon, so we can get the soul, etc. Not, oh, my top lane is asking for help. Oh, now I've used my time here. That time that you use there is going to have like a butterfly effect where now you don't have that time for the other thing. Because
Mm-hmm.
jungle is a resource pretty much in the game, and the resource
Right.
being your time. And you have to use that time very, very carefully towards different places. Because if you could just use it everywhere, jungle would
Yeah.
just be OP.
Yeah. Yeah, that very much seems to be the position is choose, what choice do you make? Because you're going to be
Exactly.
walking for longer than most of your laners are. And,
Exactly.
what do you do on the way or where are you going that actually makes a
Yeah.
difference in the,
Well,
more than just, 2 seconds from now.
exactly. And every lane, and I think tempo, honestly, the amount of coaching that I've done this year, because this is my first year coaching individual players.
Oh, okay.
I think tempo and the fundamental tempo, which is just essentially time. Every
Mm-hmm.
lane has tempo. So it's the same way a lane doesn't want to come and help you if
Right.
you're in a backwards position, which will
Mm-hmm.
lead him to becoming behind. It's the same. Like, he will only want to help you if we can get a kill, if we can get an
Right.
objective, if we can get something, right?
Right. If they're
Unless he
playing for
has spare
themselves in a
time.
similar way, yeah, it's
Yeah.
going to be,
If a
oh,
big,
it's their
yeah,
low
if
health or whatever. Yeah.
exactly, if a big wave is going to come into his tower, he's never
Right.
going to want to come and
Probably
help you
lane.
fight on the red.
Right.
And same way, you don't want to go and help him when all your
Mm-hmm.
camps are available for you to farm. So that's that's a quick little touch on kind of the mentality that you should be in, and your job and the jungle role, right, as a
Mm-hmm.
whole.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you should be thinking. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's gonna obviously this is not gonna come straight away, but I think this is like the
Definitely.
first place to attack when it comes to also talking about the dynamic that you're in.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, no, that makes sense. And your videos have been super helpful in the ways that you explain some of these things that like it's not just videos of you stepping all over people and being like, yeah, this is how you win as this champ. As you're
Yeah,
coaching through people is like, oh, okay. Like I can see some of that in myself, how I would make that decision.
that's yeah, and I feel like as well because things are just not like most of, I mean, League of Legends and jungle. It's not really a formula, right? I can't just tell you,
Mhm. Right.
this
Very
is
fluid.
black, this is white. It's like I think the best thing for new players obviously is to focus on the things that matter. So I think you were saying before how, I think you were talking about some like oh right, you were talking about focusing on the enemy jungler's movements. That's right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And yes, that's relevant, but for you
Mm-hmm.
right now, it's better to focus on your own thing.
Okay.
So like
Mm-hmm.
yes, the game's not black and white, but as a new
Mm-hmm.
player, there's areas where you should focus on more. So for
Right. Right.
example, as a new player, or a new player to jungle, or a low elo player even, you should
Mm-hmm.
focus on being able to clear your camps quickly. You should focus on pathing towards the lane that you think you can get ahead from. So it's not like you can get a kill. You should focus
Mm-hmm.
on things like making sure you don't waste time. So making sure you're on tempo, making sure you're always going back to your clear. You clear your camps, you play towards the lane, you play towards the objective, right? That's what you should focus on.
Mm-hmm.
And then as you like rank up, you'll realize, oh, okay, me warding his jungle early, I always say getting a ward on the enemy jungle's camp in like before your camp spawn, right, at like 1 minute is always helpful
Mm-hmm.
because then you know where he's pathing. Oh, he's pathing up, he's pathing down. So yeah, there's some level of tracking, but predicting what he's going to do, I wouldn't even know what a bronze player is going to. I don't know what a platinum player is going to do. I
Mm-hmm.
have no idea. So
That's
at
fair.
this time, that's something, and that's I feel like a lot of lower ranked players get caught up in. They get caught up in, I think my top lane's going to get priority, and I think that he's going to win
Mm-hmm.
lane. Like, it just doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter at all.
Okay.
The only thing
Mm-hmm.
that matters
Mm-hmm.
is you path towards something that's good for you. So
Okay.
I'm going to path towards bot because I think that bot's going to be fighting a lot. It's not that I want to help bot. It's that I think they're
Mm-hmm.
going to be fighting so I can get a kill.
There's a lot of opportunities,
There's an
right? Okay.
opportunity, exactly. You don't want to path
Okay.
towards a lane that there's no opportunity because
Right.
you're not making the most of the game. So that's that's the only time you want to think about what the lanes are, right?
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
I think those are the three biggest things: clearing quickly, making sure you're
Mm-hmm.
not wasting time with your tempo, and pathing towards the opportunity.
Okay.
And then eventually, and jungle is a lot about early game, right? And those are all basically early game things because,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
jungle has the biggest influence on the game in like the first 10 to 14 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
All right, so yeah, let's queue up now, and we'll actually we'll just focus on those three things, like literally.
Right.
I'm having a look at your OPGG now, and
All right.
this is gonna kind of segue to the next topic, which is the next most important thing is champion mastery. And the reason why champion mastery is so important is because what I just talked about. Like we don't want to be focusing on too many things, because like your brain is basically like a CPU. Okay, you want things to be kind of background processes, so you can like give some of your, you know, brain power to, okay, I give like 20% to my awareness. I give like 20% to like my clearing. Or sorry, usually you have to give your brain power to like, okay, I'm clearing camps, right? It's using some of your brain power to clear camps. But when you play the champion for 200 games, that all of a sudden becomes like a background process.
It becomes background, yeah.
And that's what you want. You want fundamentals to become background processes so you can focus on, and of course this is like much more in the future, but it's still important now to know, okay, if I have clearing camps as a background process, this is going to allow me so much more space to think about the lane that I'm pathing to, and about what kind of spells the enemy has and what spells we have and how much mobility they have and things like that. So that's what really playing a small champion pool is all about. Okay, so yeah, 3 components here, which are when we lock in, you know, when all 10 champs get locked in, this is the first thing we want to think about. It's the pregame. The pregame is, where can I get a kill? You know, what's best for me? So in this game, we're thinking about where we want to path towards to get a kill. And let's look at the top lane. So the top lane, we have Nasus, and this is also about, you know, kind of knowing champions' abilities, which is where, you know, maybe you just need to get more reps in and know, you know, knowing champions' abilities is really important, because that's going to be the biggest thing for this question. And if you don't know the champions' abilities, then you can kind of reflect and be like, oh, I pathed towards top this game, but then Jax just used his Q and hopped away, or he pressed E and I couldn't attack him because it blocks auto attacks, right? So ganking top this game and pathing towards top is not going to be the best idea, because Jax can easily, you know, avoid our gank because he has mobility. The lane is not going to, it could be volatile, but it's probably not going to be volatile because Nasus just wants to farm, as you said, is a scaling champion. And Nasus also just has his W as a gank setup, which is not really good enough. So this lane, not good to gank.
Not so much.
Mid lane, we have Nico's E, which is like a root, but it's not very reliable. It's not like lock on like an anti-stun. Veigar has no mobility, but I don't think this lane is going to be very volatile. So this is another like kind of no-no to go. Now, the bot lane, we have Jinx and Senna versus Swain and Ashe. Now, there's 0 mobility on all these champions, right? No one has any mobility, like a Jax Q, like a, you know, an Ezreal E. No one has mobility here. The lane volatility, I think it's going to be volatile as well, because there's not really much sustain. It's not like a Seraphine or a Soraka where they're just healing up and stuff like that. And also, like you said, generally bot lane is the lane that you path towards because of top laners like this. And it just like wins by default. So that's how we think, okay, we're going to path to bot. Cool. And I think getting a ward like this, if you're scared of an invade, is always good, because then you can see him kind of like running in. We'll talk more about tracking and trinkets, you know, if we ever have more sessions together or something like that. But for now, I want to focus on this clear. I want you to be able to get this clear down. So you literally, in a practice tool, I would want you to practice getting this clear down to where you finish your clear at around 3:30, right? So basically we need to clear a lot quicker, because the fastest you can clear with Xin, full clear solo start, is finishing finishing all the camps at around 3:30 with your smite actually being up. So this is the first, this is the first area we need to, obviously you don't need to make world record runs of clearing, but we need to focus on clearing quicker, because again, it's about tempo. Because if you cleared quicker, if you just had a bit more, you know, effect, you would already be killing the scuttle and looking to gank somewhere, mid or bot. And this is what I like to call spare tempo. Spare tempo is where you can do something, but it doesn't punish. It's not like punishing. So even if you were to like take the scuttle right now and you're ganking like mid right now, even if you were just to get his flash, you have nothing else to do on the map, right? So this is what's called spare tempo. You can use that spare. You can go and clear a ward. You can go drop your ward here, right? If you want, you can use this spare tempo. So yeah, getting that clear speed up means that we would be able. So basically, because you cleared slowly, you essentially missed out on a gank timer, because by the time you kill this scuttle, your Krug's are already spawning again. Whereas usually you should have around 30 to 40 seconds to do something before you have to base for your Krugs. Does that make sense?
Got it. Yeah, because
So
they're
you
supposed to
missed
spawn about 420, right?
exactly, yes. So let's just say, for example, your Krugs were spawning in 40 seconds here. You would look at the lanes. You would say, can I gank here? Can I gank here? If it's both of them a no, you would run in here and drop like a ward here. Right? So you would still do something with your spare tempo. If you could gank mid, you would gank mid. Oh, we kill him? Nice. Oh, we get his flash? Okay, that's cool. Now we go here again because we're still on tempo for our Krugs. So that's where you got punished for having a slow clear speed.
In terms of bringing clear speed down, I mean, just sort of watching some videos of people doing it
I'll try and
fast
show
kind of
you.
thing.
Yeah, I'll try and show you when we get to like 5 minutes left in the session. And I'll also link you some resources.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, I've worked on learning to sort of lead camps and hop walls and stuff.
Yeah.
But,
That's good. That's
yeah,
definitely
shaving
good.
15 or 20 seconds off is like, oh man.
Something's something's missing that we need to do. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
The next thing, which is something that I don't want you to focus on during clearing, because I want you to clear fast. But when you have nothing else to do again, what you can do with your camera is not just have it here, right? You want to see, is this guy gankable? Because you, like, let's say, for example, this top gank, Jax is 1 HP. Maybe you just saw him use his E, and you're like, okay, hang on a second. I'm going to go for this gank because it's like a high percentage that I think it's going to work because he's low. So right now we don't have that information though, right? So we may be missing an opportunity top here. But you might be missing it, you might not be. If he's full HP here, you're not going to go for that gank because it's low percentage to work and you would rather use your time on these. So while you're walking between camps, you need a camera pan to this, to these lanes. And usually the ones that you're closest to, you want to pan to, because that's where you can immediately impact.
Yeah, I've been trying to get in the habit of, going across my F keys. Still not always, there.
I mean, the whole idea with F keys is a lot of, I don't know. It's not, I'm going to tell you this right now. You don't need to just F key around as like a chore when you're not actually gaining anything from it. You need to look with intention.
Purpose,
so like when you see two icons like clashing into each other, this should like, firstly, your eyes should notice it, right, on the minimap. So this is the first bit of information. And then you take it to another step if you see them start clashing and these health bars start going low. So this like little spot right here is so important for your eyes to take glances at. And now another thing, I don't know if you're playing on like a widescreen monitor, because this could actually impact your play, like the actual hardware of it. I don't know if you have to actually move your head to the map, because you should only have to just like glance down with your eyes.
It's not too large. No, I spend a lot of time looking at the mini map.
Okay, good. Yeah, because it's a very, very important part of, because
absolutely,
before here, when they were clashing a little bit here, you see this them clashing and Nasus losing health. That's an indication to pan top. Pan by move this square.
Yeah, I'm not as used to noticing, I think, my teammates' health bars and mana, and I think probably that would be a better idea for me to have a good idea, too, of like, okay, if they're out of mana, maybe, them cooperate, helping in a gank is not going to happen depending on their
Exactly.
character.
Yeah, exactly. Things like that as well. It's like, okay, their resources are like actually too low for them to assist here, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so the next fundamental is, because we kept relatively good tempo, right? But Warwick is just running around the map, right? Like a crazy... Like a crazy guy. So he runs from top scuttle straight to the bot scuttle, kills bot lane. The only thing we can do here is do our best by pinging. If your bot lane dies, is what it is. But we can punish that, because now we see he's going for dragon. And we know, because he went like this and took this crab and then ran to bot, and we did this and took this cram and recalled and ran to top. We now know that when our wolves spawn, his wolves spawn. When our grump spawns, his grump spawns. So it's mirrored. This is a really, really easy way to do jungle tracking. And to punish, and to punish the enemy when you, because his top side camps are up now. You just know that. Like another thing you could have done here is checked his CS. So checking his CS means, if he's done 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, you know what he's done exactly.
Right. That was a full clear plus. Got it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, so you do actually press tab here, and let's see. Okay, yeah, doesn't matter. I mean, I don't even check tab that much. I kind of just see, he's level 4. you know.
Yeah, counting CS hasn't been something that I've really worked
Yeah,
into,
it's on to.
into my habits. It feels like it might be a next step, along with some of the item, metagame
I wouldn't. Yeah,
that
I
I
wouldn't
just
say
haven't really touched
again.
yet.
Yeah, again, don't use too much of your brain power on that. Just think, oh, he's cleared the top and he's gone
Right.
now crossing. He's not basing.
Yeah.
He cleared the top. Most likely his top side camps are going to be up. Now, again, when you're walking towards Raptors here, right, where should our camera be?
Probably on one of the lanes that's
Top.
relevant.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
again, look at the clashing. Jack's just, I can even tell just off the minimap that Jack's just jumped in.
Right.
So then when you do this camp, you're going to get to this moment and be like, oh, should I go here and kill
Right.
him?
That's the question. Okay.
That's
Right.
the question. This is where while this time that you're walking here, you're trying to get information to decide Warwick is doing this. Can I go here and kill him? No, because he's got his
Right.
teammates and our team is here. So
Mm-hmm.
should I match him here, or should I
Right.
trade? And essentially, this concept is you always want to match when you're stronger, and you want to trade when you either can't make it there on time, or you're weaker.
Right.
So match or trade is something you can think about. We don't need to think
Yeah.
too much about this yet, but it's just something that I'll introduce now. And yeah,
That
that's
was
how
a
we
really
can.
good tip, though, of thinking about both of our timers being synced up, like that my wolves up
Yep.
means his wolves are up.
Yep.
That's a really helpful, concrete thing to be able to say,
Ex-
oh, okay, I know what his jungle timer is for that first clear.
Yeah, and that's just all about noticing what he did. Like what he did here when he crosses through mid like this.
Right.
That's what tells you it, right? He's
That
running
means, right.
through mid, and you know that he didn't. When does he
Yeah.
actually gank mid? Does he gank mid from topside? He does, right? Yeah, he crosses from topside, and then he's running bot. So you know exactly what he did. Okay, so I want to get to this point, and then we go into a practice tour just so we have time. That's also where you're thinking, okay, what do I do? Do I gank or do I do camps? And then you see kind of Vega have push mid, so maybe, going for the grubs here was obviously not a great idea. I think this is something even I didn't notice. So this play was not great. We should have just based straight away.
Yeah.
And then essentially
Yeah.
we've just got like +8 in terms of we've took his 8 here, and we still have our 8. So this was still a really, really
I'd
good
be better off
exchange.
outscaling him with the CS rather than fight over grubs.
Well, not exactly outscaling him, but it's again, it's like you're trading just because you don't have you kind of have to accept reality here that your Nasus is in base and he has a Veigar that has move. And let's see. Yeah, I mean, I think that's all that I really want to cover for now in terms of the early game macro. I'm trying to figure out if there's anything else, but those kind of concepts is all you should focus on now. And remember, you can't win the game just off of full clearing. Okay, I'm not saying that you could have hard carried this game because this one was hard, but you have to find the moments where you can have an impact. So you taking his top side camps here and then getting your bot side camps means that you will be ahead in levels. And then you need to kind of have some way you can translate that into an impactful play, like winning a skirmish, securing an objective because you're stronger. Being stronger doesn't
using the advantage that you
exactly,
have
yeah.
instead of
Being
waiting
stronger
it out.
doesn't just win on its own.
Yes, right.
And then with that, you need to also think, okay, I don't want to force because I'm stronger, right? That's where it also becomes okay, I also need to have the right opportunity as well. I don't need to force the play. I don't need to feel pressured to force it.
There for sure.
I'll just keep farming and keep being stronger and stronger. Oh, this fight happens. I come in, I clean up, I carry. Boom.
Yeah.
That's how you're thinking about it. Okay, I'm going to jump into a